So let's talk about emotions, since nobody is talking about it like that. But before we go into that, I'd like us to go back and revisit the 3 planes of existence of a human being. I'm going to go roughly through this. If you want a more detailed explanation, go check out one of the videos I've made about our existence as human being, as man, right? So on this picture, you would have that we have our body, we have our soul, and we have our spirit. Our body is physical and it's related to everything that's physical in the world, right? And then we'd have our soul, which composes of our mind, our emotions, and our will. And then we have our spirit, which is invisible, just like our soul is, right? So on a physical level, we do things, we touch things, we hear things, we see things, we feel things, right? Like through touch. And then on a soul level, we have our minds, where we have our thoughts, ideas, imaginations, all of that thinking, right? And then we have our emotions, which is a response to what's going on in our mind in terms of the thoughts, the imagination, the ideas, the things we hold as beliefs in our mind, right? What comes to play in our mind in form of thought, idea, or imagination. And then we have will, which is determined mostly by how we feel. Like what we decide is determined by how we feel and what we would be thinking. That's why it is said in the Bible, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So you can consider yourself like a sum of your thoughts and emotions put together and maintained for long over time. So now I want us to talk about emotions in the sense that emotions are not just what we feel, but they are also energy. They vibrate. Just like the Spirit of God is energy and it vibrates. And that's essentially how we would be in communication with God, right? That is what God picks up over what we say with our mouth. What we say verbally is powerful, yes, but our emotional state, the way in which we vibrate, the state in which we vibrate in terms of our emotions is what God picks up. That's the language in which we communicate with God, right? How you are feeling presently and how you continue to feel. This emotional state in which you live in mostly. Your dominant emotional state is the one that gets you a certain type of reality, right? If you take a look at the picture of emotions, you see that different emotions are on different frequencies, different levels of vibration, right? The same thing with our reality. Like everything that you would see physically has a vibrational aspect of it. Everything has God in it. So it has energy in it. So it has a vibrational aspect of it. So everything vibrates on a certain level. So this is how important emotions are in terms of determining what type of life you live, what type of access you have to which type of things, right? Take, for instance, someone who lives in poverty, right? That person's thoughts are most probably resonant with poverty. The emotions are resonant with poverty. They're vibrating on a level in which things that reflect poverty vibrate on. One thing about our mind is that it's like a magnet, right? The minute you start thinking, damn, what am I going to eat? How am I going to afford that? The minute you start having those type of thoughts, it attracts to itself similar thoughts, more of the same thoughts. And then you go on to react to those thoughts through certain emotions. So it would be normally emotions of worry, anxiety, insecurity, sadness, and the longer you stay in that state, the longer it creates a signature, which we call a frequency, which then places you on a certain level of vibration. You'll then get things that are on that level of vibration. When you look at the next picture, it tells you the different places you would be in, right? I don't know how many of you know by now that heaven and hell is not really like a place that we go to after we die, but it's a state of being, a state in which we live in. So you can be in heaven now, you can be in hell now. This is how emotions that are held, an emotional state that's held over time places you in a certain lifestyle and exposes you to certain pathways which get you to certain situations, circumstances, things, right? In terms of relationships, when you believe that men are dogs, men will always cheat on you, despite how you love them, despite how you support them, despite what you do for you, they'll always cheat on you. When you put yourself in a position to get into a relationship, those things are there at the back of your mind, and you'll start noticing things that suggest to you that this person is actually cheating on you, and then you'll have emotional reactions to those thoughts and ideas that keep on playing in your mind, right? So as a result, you live in an emotional state that's insecure because of your mental state, because of your emotional state. You attract to yourself similar things to what your thoughts are. Well, before you know it, you'll find yourself in a relationship where the person actually cheats on you, because that's how powerful you are. That's what you manifested through your thoughts and emotional state. You put yourself in alignment with things, like you have access to enormous amounts of realities. So the emotional state that you live in determines which reality you fall into. But that's how important our emotions are. That's why throughout the Bible, Jesus demonstrates the importance of mastering your emotions, being in control of your emotions, not reacting. But when you remain calm, or when you choose to become grateful, or when you choose to become joyful, and you live in that state, you have no choice but to receive things that are vibrating on that level. Before you react, stop to breathe and think.